Hello, everyone. Good day. So we are your speakers for today. I am Dr. Vivian R. Villanueva. I'm going to talk about a comparative study of the Philippines and Indonesia's implementation of the mother tongue-based multilingual education. I'm a language teacher. I'm an English teacher in Jakarta. And here is my friend, colleague, Ibu Ayu Ananti, who
Hi,
will talk about.
everyone.
So Ibu Ayu will talk about indigenous knowledge of mother tongue-based multilingual education in Indonesia. Ibu Ayu, do you want to introduce yourself?
Okay, thank you, Miss Vivian. Hello, everyone. My name is Ayu Ananti. I'm from Japanese, and I teach Bahasa Indonesia. And also, I have my experience about mother tongue because I learned mother tongue since kindergarten until senior high school.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Ayu. So let's proceed. Our learning objectives is, of course, we will be acquainted on the indigenous knowledge of mother tongue-based multilingual education in the Philippines and in Indonesia through the help of Ibu Ayu. Then we're going to compare the implementation procedure of MTB, MLE in the Philippines and Indonesia. And of course, you as students, you're going to reflect on the knowledge and think of ways on how to apply it in your own context. After learning all these indigenous knowledge about mother tongue-based multilingual education, how are you going to apply it in your own context? Okay, so mother tongue-based multilingual education. Mother language or first language refers to the language or languages first learned by a child, which he or she identifies with, is identified as a native language user of by others, which she knows best or uses most. So this includes in the Philippines, this includes um, what is that? The one for the deaf, sign languages. Yeah, that includes the sign
Yeah,
languages,
the
and
silent
also so this has been um, enacted by our Department of Education through the Republic Act 1052-3, which is called Enhanced Basic Education. So in the Philippines, it was mandated to have this kind of mother tongue-based multilingual education in 2013 through K to 12 basic education program. Now, how about in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you, Miss Vivian. Yeah, in Indonesia, mother tongue actually they learn before Indonesian freedom. They get freedom, 1945. We already learn about mother tongue. We have a lot of mother tongue, but now decrease. Before we have, I think, a lot more than 726, but now decrease to 154. So yeah, that's why we have to the government, the central government, they have to try to make this to keep to taking care of the mother tongue. So uh, will extinct again in Indonesia. The reason why we have Bahasa Indonesia, not mother tongue, because we have a lot of mother tongue. So in other region, we always speak on mother tongue. So there is a gap communication. There is no we cannot understand each other. That's why the young people in 1945 gathered together and then declare national language, that is Bahasa Indonesia.
Okay, thank you, Bu Ayu, for that explanation. So, according to research, there is a massive amount of data showing consistently strong and positive relationships between academic development in the first language and the second language. So, it stresses that children with a solid foundation in their mother tongue develop stronger literacy abilities in the school language. So it's very, very important for the academic development of the students to learn language one and language two. So for the Philippines, the language one is, we have so many mother tongue as well in the Philippines because um, there's so many islands in the Philippines with using or speaking different dialects. And then, of course, our L2 or our national language is Tagalog, and then our L3 is English and other global languages. And in Indonesia,
Yeah, thank you. So, L1 mother tongue, yeah, we have a lot of mother tongue. For example, like in Java, itself, there is a lot of mother tongue. Like Jogja have their own mother tongue. Central Java, they have own mother tongue. And then West Java, they have own mother tongue. And then also Bali, Papua, yeah, a lot of region in Indonesia have their own mother tongue. And then second language is Bahasa Indonesia. And then after that, third language, Dutch, because yeah, we Indonesian people colonized by Dutch, and English as well. Yeah, we learn about English.
thank you, Ibu Ayu. Now, another research, it supports that first, learners learn to read more quickly when taught in their first language. Second, pupils who have learned to read and write in their first language learn to speak, read, and write in a second language and third language more quickly than those who are taught in a second or third language first. Third, in terms of cognitive development and its effects in other academic areas, pupils taught to read and write in their first language acquire such competencies more quickly. So, for me, being an early childhood educator, I understand the fact that establishing and teaching the first language, making sure that the foundation of the child in learning the first language should be really, really strong. And I applied that to my own children. So if you can see, this one is my daughter who, when we migrated to Indonesia 14 years ago, she was still in preschool. And at that time, the only language that she knew was Tagalog. I was very, very confident that later on she'll be learning her second language and third language quickly. So, and that happens. That happens. She was able to learn English, Bahasa Indonesia, Chinese or Mandarin, because of the strong foundation that was provided to her in her first language. For Ibu Ayu, maybe Ibu Ayu can tell us a story about her own experience learning the first language or the mother tongue.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Vivian. Yeah, in my experience, yeah, I learned mother tongue from kindergarten until senior high school. When I was in kindi, sometimes I don't understand about second language Bahasa Indonesia. So my mother use bilingual. So she teach Bahasa Indonesia. She explained in Bahasa Indonesia first. Uh, uh, And then I try to learn, oh, this is a Japanese language like this. So the teacher try to make me understand. If I don't understand in Bahasa Indonesia, they speak in Japanese. So we use bilingual.
Thank you, Ibu Ayu. So it really shows that the pupils who are taught to read and write in their first language acquire such competencies more quickly. So by the teacher teaching her the concepts in the mother tongue, and also even using bilingual, then she's able to learn it quickly. Okay. So these are the MTB MLE literacy instructions provided by the Department of Education. So we were asked to teach it in a traditional way, wherein it is using code-based literacy instruction by using print concepts, blending, phonological awareness, letter sounds. So being a language teacher, this would always be part of our language instruction when we teach a language to the students. So that is one instruction. And then second is start with what is known to the learner or to their schema, to their prior knowledge. That's why the schools are required and encouraged to produce locally made and culturally appropriate multilingual picture books in public schools so that the students can relate and make connection to their environment and to what they are learning. So these are the instructions, literacy instructions that were suggested by the Department of Education on how we teach MTB MLE. So how about in Indonesia, Ibu Ayu?
Okay. In
How do you
Indonesia,
teach MTB mother tongue?
yeah. Thank you, Ms. Vivian. In Indonesia, like what I have known, the experience, yeah, because sometimes there is a bridge, there is a gap. Like for example, when I was in Hindi, I don't understand about Bahasa Indonesia, and then my teacher explained in Japanese. So the teacher have their freedom to use their own strategy. Yeah, and then they use there's a lot of book about vocabulary. So the teacher always ask us as a student to deeper to learn about vocabulary first, because we have a lot of vocabulary in Japanese. So yeah, the teacher asks the student to learn about vocabulary, and after that, inside the next level, the teacher also teach us about literacy. So yeah, we in here we learn about culture also.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Ayu. So we can see that Indonesia is really strong on their schema, developing their understanding about their environment or on what they know, and by enriching the vocabulary words. Okay. Now, so there are two-track methods suggested by the Department of Education in the Philippines. So the first one is primer track to focus on accuracy. We know accuracy is about reading. Okay, focus on correctness. Can they really read what is written? Can they really recognize parts of words? And then do they use correct vocabulary? Do they pronounce the words correctly? Do they speak with correct grammar? That is primer track, focusing on accuracy. And also, there's a second one, another implementation suggestion on how to teach mother tongue based multilingual education, which is story track, to focus on meaning. Focus on meaning so that the students would understand and think critically, responsively, and creatively. So with using a story, big book, then the students will be able to speak with understanding, speak and read with understanding. So they're using the big books so that they will understand um, the lesson in mother tongue that is being taught. So how about in Indonesia, Ibu Ayu? Which track method are you using for you to teach MTB MLE?
Yes, thank you, Miss Vivian. Like what I said before, because we learning about vocabulary, and then we also learn about we have a storybook, and we learn about culture, a lot of culture, because we have we have to learn mother tongue, because there is a communication. The focus is communication, and then the second one is how we have to respect. We have to respect, and then politeness. So we focus on meaning.
Okay.
We have a lot of story books, and then we learn it using mother tongue.
Yeah. So for Indonesia, they focus more on meaning, okay, with the intention for the students to apply what they have learned. And the most important thing is to respect the culture. Okay. Now, so in the Philippines, there are 4 minima, okay, the most essential requirements so that a dialect can be called an official language for mother tongue subject. So that specific dialect must have orthography or spelling guide, must have a dictionary or glossary, must have grammar guide, and must have reading materials like storybooks. So as a local government must present all these 4 to make sure that their language will be considered as official language. If you take a look at this list, there were only 26 languages with 4 minima requirements for finalization. But if you take a look at the list here, there are still other if you look at it, there's so many other dialects that were not officially announced or considered as an official language for mother tongue subjects. So that's in the Philippines. We need to apply for that. How about in Indonesia? Um, do you need to apply a dialect to become mother tongue subject in Indonesia, Ibu Ayu?
Yes, of course, we have to learn because we have a lot of mother tongue. We have a lot of dialect also.
Okay.
So yeah, we learn about dialect and how to spell it. So the most important thing is vocabulary. That one, a lot of vocabulary in Japanese, and then after that we have aksara Jawa, how to write it, and then we have a dictionary books, the thick dictionary that we as a student we have to memorize, and then grammar also, and storybooks.
Okay. Thank you, Ibu Ayu. And in Indonesia, they are very clear about how they're going to teach those different languages. With this
Yeah.
code,
Ya, utamakan bahasa Indonesia, lestarikan bahasa daerah, kuasai bahasa asing. It
which
means,
means,
yeah, prioritize Indonesian, preserve regional languages, master foreign languages.
yeah, so it's very important for them to preserve the mother tongue. Okay. Now, so in teaching letter sound awareness, if you take a look at the alphabet here, in some of the places in the Philippines, some of the alphabets are not arranged according to the alphabet order because they are using the most frequently used letter sounds. Like example, on top you see A, N, I, D, U, T. It's not A, B, C, D, E, F, G because they rearrange it so that the most frequently used letter sounds are at the beginning. That is how they teach letter sound awareness. And each book, okay, each letter or sound has a big book so that the students will be able to master those letter sound using the big books and the way they arrange the letters. This is anidot or from Marungko. How about in Indonesia?
Thank you, Ms. Vivian. Like I said before, we have a lot of material. So we have aksara Jawa, vowels, and then we have complete resources like a textbook, storybooks, vocabulary, dictionary, and grammar.
Okay, thank you. And this one, Aksara Jawa, is similar to our to the Anidut, Marungko.
Yes, anidot.
Yeah,
Vowel.
yeah. So they arrange it according to the most frequently used letter sounds, right? In that specific region. Yeah, Aksara Jawa. Okay, so the Department of Education has provisions in teaching mother tongue based multilingual education. So the teachers, the educators, must teach literacy, must use prior knowledge or home language and culture, must develop the cognitive and higher order thinking skills by talking about ideas in familiar language. Because when we talk about something using our own mother tongue, then it's easier for us to express our ideas. And then it should also provide a good bridge to listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And then teaching for meaning and accuracy, decoding and comprehending text, and also confidence building and proficiency development so that the students will be accurate in those two or more languages and they become confident in using those. So these are provisions that the teachers of mother tongue based multilingual education should try to develop and use. How about in Indonesia, Ibuay?
Yeah, in Indonesia, we have a prior knowledge. That's it. That is a home language and culture, because we learn about culture in mother tongue. Because there is a goal. First is for communication. Second, we using mother tongue to learn about respect and politeness in our society.
Okay, thank you, Ibuay.
Okay.
Now, let's just take a glimpse of the curriculum of our Department of Education in Mother Tongue. So if you take a look at it, this is the framework. It starts with learning outcomes and the different literacy skills are there, but not only those literacy, but even critical literacy, writing competency, reading comprehension, for us to develop the cognitive of the students, and also integrated with other academic subjects, and also bridging them to their second language, and so that later on they become lifelong learners, and then it goes up to assessment and feedback. Then after that, after the feedback, then goes down again to learning outcomes. We can see that the curriculum framework is really well thought of. And also the three language programs, we can see that it is really arranged according to, well, I'm a language teacher, and I know how to develop the literacy skills, those literacy skills of the students. And usually it should start from confidence in oral, right? Confidence in speaking. Then later on, they're going to be introduced with reading, through reading and writing. And then after that, they move to language 2. And then same thing, oral, and then developing through reading and writing, then go up to oral language 3, and then go up to introducing reading and writing in language 3. Well, we see here that it is really, really carefully thought of. It is really, the three language program has been really arranged in such a way that the students will really learn gradually from oral to reading and writing, from the first to the second to the third language. And if you take a look at, I also look at the different level standards. If you take a look at it, it's also very well crafted, and it's developmentally appropriate. If you take a look at the standard, you see that all the language domains are here with vocabulary, phonological skills, book and print knowledge, phonics, and word recognition, until study skills. Everything is there. All the language domains were there. And if you see the lesson plan, it's also well crafted by the Department of Education. Well, for the Philippines, curriculum crafted by the Department of Education, I can see that it's really well crafted, well planned, and I can see that the one who wrote it, the one who planned our mother tongue based multilingual education curriculum, is also a language teacher, or maybe a group of language teachers who know the curriculum in developing the literacy skill. How about in Indonesia, Ibu Ayu? How about what can you say about your curriculum?
Okay, thank you. Curriculum, yeah, because we want to, the government the center of government wants to taking care of the this mother tongue. They want mother tongue still exists. So yeah, we have to learn about mother tongue. So that's why there's a budgeting. There's a budget for this project, this mother tongue project, because like what I said before, there is a 726, and then become decrease become 100 something. So we want to keep this original mother tongue. So in central government itself, they give the freedom to local leader to arrange, to manage the budget and arrange the curriculum by local teacher. So the teacher also have a freedom to make that curriculum. So that's why they also use a bilingual, because yeah, they have their own curriculum, and because we have a lot of material, we have prepared uh, a lot of material, so uh, we can manage the curriculum by the teacher itself. So the local leader also give the freedom for the local teacher to uh, make a strategy for that curriculum. So that's why, because we also learn about meaning of using mother tongue to learn about culture. So inside the curriculum, uh, every student and teachers include staff every Thursday, uh, they wear national traditional clothes. They wear traditional clothes. So we call it kamisan Thursday. So that's included in curriculum until now. So teacher, student, and staff every Thursday they wear traditional clothes to uh, understanding the meaning of mother tongue.
Yeah. So here we don't only see literacy development, but also an application on how they're going to show respect to their culture. They also showcase their culture by wearing their traditional clothes. So that is really another something that we can learn from Indonesia. Establishing respect to the culture. They expect the students to show respect to the culture by wearing their traditional clothes, and also um, understanding their understanding their culture in a deeper perspective. Thank you, Ibu Ayu. Now, for teacher training in the Philippines, the initial MTB-MLE intense training is mostly for grade 1 teachers. Mostly for grade 1 teachers only. There's limited training for school heads and supervisors. 37% out of 16,000 teachers surveyed said that they had no formal training in MTB-MLE. K to 3 teachers surveyed scored 44% in the MTB-MLE instructional knowledge. We can see that it's not even 50%. Now, that's in the Philippines. We'll see. Let's see. How about in Indonesia? What can you say about the teacher training?
Okay, thank you. In Indonesia, because the government really concerned about this mother tongue, so yeah, they have a danais. Danais is like a budgeting. Every region they have especially for Jogja and Aceh. Yeah, we call it danais. Danais is a special budgeting. Yeah, that's for training for really concerned about this mother tongue. So training for all the teacher. Yeah, maybe for example in the location in uh, West Java. So a lot of other region come to West Java. They choose one or two teachers to come in West Java and have training. So yeah, this is the government really concerned with this mother tongue. We want to always using mother tongue, make it exist, because yeah, we learn about the meaning, right, and the meaning about the mother tongue. So yeah, a lot of teacher really also really concerned about this one. So there is a training, teacher training, and government, central government, give the freedom to leader in local region to manage the budget, and then they help the teacher training.
Thank you, Ibu Ayu. So the government is really concerned about training the teachers. Okay, so if now let's move forward to the learning resources because it is somehow aligned or related to teacher training. So there are region-initiated write shops, yes, and there's also nationwide initiated write shops on materials to develop big books. That's in the Philippines. Now, if we take a look at their learning resources here, the mother tongue. So these are the data. The data that the number of mother tongue materials that were uploaded in the system of the Department of Education. So if you take a look, grade 1 at this time had 1,083 mother tongue materials. Grade 2 had 345 and grade 3 had 170. So we can see that the materials were decreasing because the grade 1 teachers were given trainings, whereas the other levels were not really prioritized in their training. So we can see that is the result of the teacher training. So we see the importance of teacher training so that the teachers can also produce learning resources. Okay, now in the Philippine context, for the mother tongue based MLE program to be functional, then it should have all of um, these elements. So first is national and local policies. We see that we have Republic Act. The Philippines has Republic Act so that we can implement the mother tongue based multilingual education in national and local. And then there's also implementation support. There must be funding, monitoring, and evaluation. There must also be community support so that our local writers can also contribute. Curriculum and procedure in teaching literacy. This one, I believe the Department of Education has done great job in the curriculum and procedure. Learning resources, I think this is something that we need to address. Training for teachers, appropriate learning assessments, advocacy, and this one we have this for minima orthography. How about in Indonesia, Ibu Ayu?
Okay, in Indonesia, we strong in advocacy because we have a diversity multilingualism, and then culturally responsive. Yeah, we like what I said before. We learn culture using mother tongue. So we learn about culture, like for example, the goal is the student understand about the culture uh, using mother tongue. So they have a communication uh, from student and the teacher. And then the second one is to learn respect and politeness in the society. So and also we learn about, like for example, culture. A form of learning culture is wearing traditional clothes. Like I said before, kamisan. We wear traditional clothes in Thursday. And also we have a exchange student for other region. For example, student from Bali, student from Papua, Kalimantan come to Jogja and study there. And that's the strong advocacy. That's the strong functional program in Indonesia. The lack is about national and local policies because, like I explained before, the government already give the budget and let the leader, local leader, to manage that budget. But sometimes there is a gap between the local leader and the teacher. So we also lack monitoring and evaluation. So that's why, uh, yeah, sometimes there is a, for example, when the other region come to Jogja, of course, the student doesn't understand the mother tongue from Jogja, also the culture. So the student sometimes confused uh, how to wear the traditional clothes from Jogja, how to say something in uh, Japanese mother tongue, so that there is a gap. So that's why the teacher using bilingual because of that. So because of this, there is a problem with government and local leader. We have a lack of monitoring and evaluation. Thank you, Ms. Vika.
Thank you so much, Ibu Ayu. Now, if we take a look at this one, the Department of Education has given department orders. If you see the date, the year, in 2009, they've institutionalized mother tongue-based multilingual education. And in 2011, there's guidelines on the utilization of downloadable funds for materials development. In 2012, there's guidelines on the implementation. In 2015, utilization of language mapping, guideline on the early language literacy and numeracy program. In 2015 as well, they've adopted the Indigenous Peoples Education Curriculum Framework. In 2019, policy guidelines on K-12 basic education program. Now you can see how the government has really working on the multilingual, mother tongue-based multilingual education. Every year, they try to really improve the program by releasing department orders. So the government is actually doing their best to really make sure that the MTBMLE is being supported. However, when there was consultation between the Department of Education and Bureau of Curriculum Development, these were the challenges that were mentioned. Uncomfortable use of mother tongue in the classroom due to misconception. English or Filipino remain to dominate the school's linguistic landscape. A language transition program has not been fully developed. The Filipino Sign Language as the mother tongue of students with special needs has not been fully explored in the program. There is no permanent item position for MT coordinator. So we see the lack of budget here. The what else? Yeah, the uncomfortability of using mother tongue. Another one, language mapping is either not properly done or not done at all. Then teachers receive little to no training. And then dialects are often disadvantages in the development of an orthography and learning materials. DepEd lacks teachers who are proficient in the language they need to teach. schools receive varying support from the key stakeholders. So we can see that the key here is support, budget, implementation, teacher training. Now, recently, there's a news about the DepEd considering dropping mother tongue-based teaching in new curriculum. Let's watch this.
The Philippine Education Department is planning to drop the mother tongue as a required subject. An education expert, however, believes the proposed policy will be counterproductive. Ada Perez tells us why.
Oranges sa Tagalog ito ay tinatawag na kahel, magaling.
Types of fruits integrated with counting are teacher Christopher's lessons for his grade 3 students. In his 5 years teaching the Tagalog mother tongue, he noticed children have shown importance for one's own language and culture. But he believes there should be a focus on when the mother tongue should be used.
Yung tinuturo ko kasi sa mother tongue, na ituturo na rin sa ibang subject. No, lalong-lalo yan sa Filipino. Yung ibang subject naman doon ay yung iba nasa English na na-translate siya into Filipino. Mas maganda siguro kung mas mag-focus na lang yung sa primary sa reading, writing and arithmetic na lang muna.
Math teacher Jerry admitted even if he teaches terms in English, students still learn using the language they understand.
Mas comfortable ng bata sa Tagalog kapag nagtuturo kami ng mathematics kasi mas naintindihan nila yung aming ginagamit na terms.
Under the current curriculum, the mother tongue-based multilingual education is being taught as a separate subject in grades 1 to 3. English subject is taught starting from the third quarter of grade 1 until grade 6. But if the DepEd draft of the revised K-10 curriculum gets approved, the mother tongue subject will be removed. Mother tongue will only be considered as a language and literacy resource or background knowledge and foundation of students. This is aimed at helping students better understand Filipino and English, which will be strengthened from grades 1 to 3. In the draft curriculum, students must be fluent in Filipino upon reaching grade 3 and in English as a second language. But an education expert believes the removal of the mother tongue subject is worrisome.
The Philippine Education Department
Philippine Congress is still talking about it, if they're going to remove the mother tongue as a subject and they'll just use it as like language enhancement or enrichment. So I hope that we as educators, we as language teachers who really know that this mother tongue based multilingual education is really based on research, how it will give us our students, how it will promote literacy to our students. We'll also stand up for this advocacy that learning the first language, giving the students with good foundation of the first language will really promote learning. So let's read this from Monji et al. 2019. Notwithstanding the numerous problems it is facing, the MTB-MLE has very solid pedagogical foundation and embodies the concepts of a learner-centered education. Thus, this study does not question the wisdom of implementing the program, but rather seeks to highlight the challenges it is facing with the view of seeking more effective, efficient, and acceptable ways of implementing the program. Overall, the program needs better appreciation of the conceptual problem it is facing and the cooperation of all stakeholders to be implemented well. So this is not about focusing on the challenges, highlighting on the challenges. So we've seen, as we compare the Indonesia's and the Philippines implementation of the mother tongue based multilingual education, we've seen what else can we do in our own context so that we can promote literacy, skills development, and cultural development as well, cultural literacy development as well. So we have so many things that we can learn from Indonesia's implementation, especially the promoting respect to our culture. Something that we can bring along is also to apply not only cognitive but also apply the how can we show respect to our language, to our culture, by understanding where we came from. So, and also make sure you're not just waiting for someone else to fix things or hoping that things will improve. Figure out what's going on and make a plan to improve things. That's from Kenneth W. Thomas. So in our own context, in our own classroom, in our own school, let's not wait for the Department of Education to fix things, but we can fix things. We can improve in our own little way. We can make little plans. That's why we are all empowered educators, so that when we know something that is really, really important for our students, for our learners, then we are sure of how are we going to really promote and work collaboratively as a community to promote good education. So I hope you've learned something from our sharing, and as you are reflecting on our own mother tongue based MLE education, maybe Ibu Ayu wants to say something about it. Thank you so much, Ibu Ayu, for sharing your experience and knowledge about mother tongue based education, as how Indonesia has been implementing it.
Thank you so much, Ms. Vivian, because you give this opportunity for me to speak about my experience. Yeah, in my opinion, and I believe in Indonesian society opinion also, if mother tongue will be removed, I believe local students will lose their identity. That's why language lecturer, writers, local citizen in our in Indonesian society always support this mother tongue that always exists, and students use it and learn about the meaning of the culture using mother tongue.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you, Ibu Ayu, for that strong
Welcome.
advocacy in teaching mother tongue based multilingual education.